It's a terrifying feeling, isn't it? To be so driven but completely unaligned. You're moving but you're not going anywhere that matters to your soul. Like the paradox of an elegant arrow aimed wide off the mark. On paper, I was a success. Inside, I was lost. For years, my life ran on one thing: ambition. I was up early, put in every waking hour at work, and even stayed late. I said yes to every project, every meeting, every chance to prove I was worthy. I was addicted to the validation that came from achievement. A promotion, a raise, or a great job from my boss provided the inner high I craved. That was my fuel. And hey, it worked. I moved up, I earned more, and I collected all the shiny toys of a life well lived. But then, a weird thing started happening. The thrill of each achievement started to fade faster and faster. A win on Monday felt like a distant memory by Tuesday. I was surrounded by people, but I felt profoundly lonely. The life I'd so carefully built felt like a costume, and it was getting heavier every single day. From living a life based on a script someone else had written, whether it was society, your family, or even your own ego, to being driven by the should-dos instead of being pulled by a genuinely edifying want-to-do, to being the high achiever who feels empty and starts to wonder who that person in the mirror even is. The truth is, that feeling of being lost isn't a dead end. It's a psychological signal that you're ready to grow. It's also your inner self telling you that you've taken a wrong turn and it's time to find your way back. And you can. In 7 solid steps. Alright, so the first and most important step is this. You have to stop guessing what will make you happy and actually find it. You have to identify your core values. And I'm not talking about a generic list of words like honesty and kindness. I mean digging deep to find the principles that for you are completely non-negotiable. For the longest time I thought one of my core values was achievement, but when I got brutally honest with myself, I realized what I actually craved was mastery. The private joy of getting really good at something I cared about, not just collecting public trophies. Achievement was external, mastery was internal, and that one tiny shift changed everything. So how do you find yours? Ask yourself 2 things. When in my life have I felt most alive and most myself? And what was I doing? And on the flip side, when have I felt the most drained, angry, or just plain fake? And what was I doing? Your values are hiding in those answers. Narrow them down to your top 3 to 5, for they are your new compass. Once you know your values, the next secret is to turn them into a declaration. And to get this, you need to write a personal mission statement. I know it sounds a little corporate and stuffy, but stick with me because this isn't for a business plan, it concerns your life. Make it a short, powerful statement about who you want to be and the impact you want to have. Built on the foundation of your values, but definitely make it fun, not fussy. When you start, it might feel clumsy, but suddenly, that vague feeling of wanting more has a direction. This statement becomes your filter. When a new job offer comes along, you don't just ask, does it pay well? You also ask, does this align with my mission? When you're deciding how to spend your weekend, you ask, does this help me live out my mission? It stops you from just reacting to or fumbling through life and helps you start building it on purpose. Think of it as the constitution for your new, aligned life. The third secret is to ruthlessly audit your life and get your goals in line with your new mission, and this is where the real work begins. You have to look at everything, your job, your relationships, your hobbies, how you spend your time and your money, and ask the tough questions. Questions like, does this support my mission? Does this honor my values? Does it leave me fulfilled or drained? I sat down and listed out all my major goals at the time. Get promoted to senior director, buy a bigger house, and so on. I then held them up against my mission statement, and I was shocked. Almost none of them had anything to do with creativity, mastery, or helping others. They were all about status and security. They were goals my ego had set, not my soul. They will satisfy everyone else but me, and once again, I will be the ultimate loser. This is often the most painful part of the process because in this, you might realize that some of the things you've been chasing are actually taking you further from the life you want. It might mean changing careers, it might mean outgrowing relationships. This step means being brave enough to let go of what looks good on the outside to make room for what feels aligned on the inside. But alignment isn't a one-and-done deal. It's a practice. That's why the fourth secret is to treat your alignment like any other priority in your life. You have to schedule it. I started putting a 30-minute alignment check-in on my calendar every Sunday evening. During this time I just reflect, I look at the week that passed and ask myself, where did I feel most aligned? Where did I feel the pull of my old, driven but not aligned self? What adjustments do I need to make for the week ahead? Sometimes the adjustment is small, like saying no to a social event that I know will drain me. Sometimes it's bigger, like signing up for a course to learn a new skill that fits my mission. Regardless of the size of the adjustment, this regular practice of self-reflection and recalibration is what keeps you on track. And without it, it's way too easy to slip back into old patterns and wake up a year from now feeling just as lost as before. Secret number 5 is realizing that growth and comfort almost never happen at the same time, and when you start living an aligned life, it will often feel more uncomfortable at first than your old life did. You'll have to say no to opportunities your old self would have jumped at. You'll have to have difficult conversations. You'll have to be a beginner again at things, meaning you will totally have to question everything you've been taught. For me, this meant turning down a promotion that everyone, including me, expected me to take. It was deeply uncomfortable as my ego screamed that I was making a huge mistake. But here's the shift. When you undertake this realignment journey, you learn to tell the difference between two types of discomfort. There's the discomfort of misalignment, that dull, chronic ache of being in the wrong life. And then there's the discomfort of growth, that sharp but temporary feeling of stretching yourself in the right direction. When you learn to embrace the second kind, you become unstoppable. Let that marinate for a bit. The sixth secret is to turn your abstract values into small, concrete, daily actions because you don't lock in your purpose just by thinking about it only. You lock into it by doing as well. This is how you build momentum and make alignment feel real. If one of your values is community, don't just wait around to feel connected. Go ahead and schedule that coffee date with a friend, or maybe volunteer for 1 hour. If another value is creativity, don't wait for some bolt of inspiration to strike. Just write one paragraph, paint for 10 minutes, or even just take one photo. Kickstart your drive with little beginner actions and watch them snowball into major projects and achievements. These small, values-based actions might seem pretty insignificant on their own, but they really do build on each other. Neuroscience shows that when our actions line up with our values, it can activate the brain's reward system, which creates a much more sustainable kind of satisfaction. You start to trust yourself again because you're getting real proof that you're someone who actually lives by their values. And secret number 7, the final secret, is that you can't do this alone. You need to consciously build a support system that understands and champions your journey, and here's why. When I first started making these changes, some people in my life just didn't get it. They thought I was having a midlife crisis or throwing away my potential, and for a little while, their doubt made me doubt myself. So watch out for these kinds of people. Luckily, I have a strong will, and I learned fast that I needed to surround myself with people who were either on a similar path or at least respected mine. This could be a mentor, a coach, a therapist, or even just a group of friends who are also trying to live more intentionally. These are the people who will celebrate your weird, unconventional, aligned choices. They're the ones who, when you say you turned down a promotion to start a podcast, will say, "Congratulations," instead of, "Are you crazy?" Your environment is critical because your alignment circle will either be an anchor holding you in the past, or a current pulling you toward your future. Choose wisely. We have come to the end of our conversation about building a life that doesn't just look good on paper but is actually good to live. And if you take one thing home today, let it be this: that feeling of being driven but not aligned isn't a sign that you're broken, it's a sign that you're waking up. It's an invitation to a deeper, more meaningful way of living. For years I chased a version of success that left me feeling empty. Now, I chase alignment and I have never felt more full. Living an aligned life is a journey, not a destination. It's a constant process of discovery, of shedding expectations, and of coming home to yourself. It can be messy, and it's definitely not always easy, but it's the only journey worth taking. I'm really curious which of these secrets hits home for you the most right now. Let me know in the comments below. You have all the power you need to rewrite your story, and the journey starts now. Thank you for dropping by. Like and subscribe if you found value in this presentation, and keep on being the earthly ripple of divine love as you remain blessed and renewed on all levels.